Hey Nick, what is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it's a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Wow, you know this, Nick. They're having Detective Atmy's trial today. Detective Atmy? They say they're going to try him as Master DeMasque. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd sure love to see Master DeMasque's trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? She went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. Who's talking? Pearls really got into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since the incident last year. Please don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Light, good morning. No one likes me. No one knows me, even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Oh, wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No, I'm just a poor thief. Oh wait, that's not right. A thief can't really... Now let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans someone had been sending him to help commit the heists. Do you really think there's a connection between the thief and the murderer, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. How come? It's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defence is ready, Your Honour. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Godo. Oh, he's got the judge in his palm of his hand yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godo. Ha, then you need to get out more, Your Honour. Life is war. But that's exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes, well then, let me briefly summarise the details of the case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe approximately 9 AM on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 AM of the previous day. And that's when our lost little kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Godo, please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Godo, your witness? Okay then, let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? Maybe a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but... I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honour. The defence will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Ha! You've got guts, trite. Well then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. You did it, didn't you? Yes. What? No, that's not true. For a moment there, I thought we set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight looks plenty guilty with the face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Ha! Very well. Now then, can you please tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why'd you go to KB Security? Well, it's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. That evening around 1 o'clock, I went to see Mr. Bullard at his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got and ordered me to go there. I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. Ah, it's bitter today too, just like my destiny. You'd never know from the way he's chucking it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please.
Hold it!
1 a.m., huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yeah, that's what my watch said when I was entering the CEO's office. No, actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow and my internal clock was... 1 a.m. That's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure.
Hold it!
It ordered you there? It was the first time I got a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've got other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. Let's say things like, steal this or take that. Ah, why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money, huh? A perfect motive for committing murder. But wait! I never intended to pay the money anyway. Oh, is that right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head, so I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Well, that's a fucking lie. It's right there in the bloody letter. Huh. A muddy mud skipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. The blackmail threat didn't scare me. It wasn't going to cause me any trouble or anything. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway? The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole DeMasque thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't? Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. So that's why Mr. White didn't believe he was Master Mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. I'll press this anyway, but I'm pretty sure. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yeah, that's right. A security chief? You? And A year ago you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject. Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well, the world is filled with those who have said, I wish I'd never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary weren't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company. Come again? KB Security has lots of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bonnet found out and I was fired immediately. Wow, I wish I never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that. He sure told you. So you admit you stole data from your company, is this correct? Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worst, crashed and blew up. It's going to take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. He fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby, what else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste! So Miss Delight doesn't know her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. The case has even gotten mine to think seriously about couples. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. There wasn't much in his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. We better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Right. Let's ask the other question then. Oh, I can't ask the other question, okay. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway? Don't want your identity revealed.
Objection!
Aha! I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was Master DeMasque, but you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. It's true the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps, but even so, there's no reason for me to pay up now a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact Ron was stealing company data. I wonder if he would have had a problem if it became public knowledge. Of course he would. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. That's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes, now come on, provide some evidence to back up your assertion. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data stealing secret from going public? Because his wife would find out.
Take that!
Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secrets. A certain person? Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. Would I? Listen to me, my Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Oh, Godo. Yes, we know it was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh! No, everything's falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry! Well, it seems we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I don't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come on, tell us. We're all ears. Sorry. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly I was hit on the forehead, and after that I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Buller was lying there dead. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said Master Mas struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Acme turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Ha! No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked. We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godo. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it.
Hold it!
Who was this suspicious shadow? If there were thousands of me and even one new, I'd tell you, trust me. His dodging all our questions not helping us with the case. Okay, then how was the victim Mr. Buller at that time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Forget it.
Hold it!
Your forehead. Yeah, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was fast and powerful hit. I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Delight even grasped what you're asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him a fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that'd knock some sense into him. That? Could you please clarify what you're referring to? Why, my Master Mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Master Mask? Huh? Did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Master Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO at KB Security. What? Nick, did you know about this? You never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it until now. Wait, well, that's not right, but, you know, sometimes things just slip your mind. Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my Master Mask costume. Why were you dressed up as Master Mask? Because I am Master Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Master Mask trial's being held next door! Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Master Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I'd expect. Took a lot longer? What was he talking about? What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, I mean the safe, of course. My cape got caught in the safe door, you see. That all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. What was that? Back up a second. Yes. You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer's simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir. Uh-oh, looks like the storm front is moving in on the fair weather judge. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Why'd you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in a drawer. Boo! That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw the corpse, I kind of lost it. I thought, if they find this corpse, they'll think I did it. Ha! I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense. Hold on. 10 minutes? What is it, Nick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body? And spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh! Hey Nick, do you think his behaviour was so strange? Why don't you present some evidence to show what those circumstances were? That's it. I'll take a look at the court record and present some evidence. We heard about this from Mr. Delight yesterday, didn't we? There's not much in his testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll just have to draw it out of him. Just hope he doesn't make it look any more complicated. The buzzer went off at 1:02.
Objection!
Your Honour, could you please take a look at this record? What might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects to the CEO's office to security. If the button on the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Ron Delight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as the buzzer sounded. After all, a security car would have been heading his way. Huh. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them. But as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact the guard was a pathetic loser, who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity, was not something Mr. Delight could have known. Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off. This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he'd been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Fine, let's hear your theory. Recall the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Delight didn't know the buzzer had been sounded, and that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out and the buzzer went off afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean there was another person in the room. Whoever it was, they knocked out Ron Delight and pressed the buzzer. Order in the court! Mr. Wright, this is preposterous. It was this kid, Ron Delight. This is the one who killed Kane Bollard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push the button. So Kane Bollard signed the buzzer himself. What's your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove it wasn't Kane Bollard who signed the buzzer? The defence's opinion is this, Your Honour. This piece of evidence proves it wasn't the victim who signed the buzzer. No fingerprints.
Take that!
I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for.
The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it?
Absolutely not.
Hey, come on now, at least give us some thought into what you say before opening your mouth.
The fact there's absolutely no clues is itself the clue.
No, I'm the one who's clueless.
This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had pressed it himself, naturally there would have been fingerprints left behind.
Rhonda Light obviously wiped them off.
Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment.
He touched the button, I know he did.
The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master DeMasque, and Master DeMasque always wears gloves. What reason could he have possibly had to wipe the button free of fingerprints?
Order! Order!
It would seem
I've been forced to eat crow.
I wonder what blend number crow flavoured coffee is.
However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why'd that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with the awkward silence all of a sudden? It looks like you're fresh out of parlour tricks.
They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer called Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. In most security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed. Supposed to respond.
Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say.
Very well then. I have a bit of a doubt in this one.
Oh ho, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why'd the real killer sound the emergency buzzer?
To call security. The killer knew if they pressed the button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted.
Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose?
Yes, although as it turned out he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time.
Ah, what a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in?
No. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Rhonda Light, who was out cold. And the 3rd person, the real killer.
Hypothetically, yes.
Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Rhonda Light. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they'd think I was the murderer. Yes, that's precisely what the real killer's objective was. To frame Rhonda Light for the murder.
Order! Order!
It would seem
I've been made to eat my words once again.
Actually, you're made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee.
Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait. Oh, wait a second. I'm the one and only Master DeMasque, so...
Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew he'd been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard.
Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard?
Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it.
Ace Detective? Luke Atme? You mean Master DeMasque did it?
Your Honour, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master DeMasque at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard.
Order! Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself!
Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime?
They're not even close. Murder's more serious. It's a capital crime punishment subject to capital punishment.
Wow, I fucked that up. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom.
Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as, well, Master DeMasque.
Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along.
To be found guilty?
Master DeMasque had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master DeMasque was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight, unassailable alibi.
A guilty verdict as an alibi?
You know, it's almost time.
For what?
For Luke Atme's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course. That's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder.
Mr. Luke Atme's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to interlude and fail to provide adequate proof of the true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal.
Am I really sure about this?
Ha! A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you.
Mr. Delight.
So please, I'm begging you.
Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix! What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice, it sounds like Mia. Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess.
So that's your answer, huh? Very well, I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atme to the stand.
Yes, Your Honor. are, Sir Detective Acme. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Acme, you were the one who...
That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. The court finds the defendant, Luke Acme...
Hold it! Wait. Don't hand down your verdict yet, please. Well, well, Sir Lawyer, welcome to my courtroom. Oh, okay, he's, okay.
Who's this hooser, eh?
My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Acme. Accusation? You accuse Master Mask? That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer.
What?